All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to MMA Ventures. Today, we're going to be talking about Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. So, as you can see, we're here on the front page looking at the main card. It's an all right card. It's not the greatest card that they've put on, especially during these quarantine times. We've been very spoiled with some awesome cards. One main fight I want to talk about: Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. Bobby Green's my boy. I always support Bobby Green. I've met him a few times. He's a really cool guy. Um, so that is why I am going to go ahead and feature that one right here. So Bobby coming off of a very, he probably should have won this fight, but he didn't really earn the fight either. So it's kind of one of those fights where it's like they just gave it to whoever they felt earned it more. Um, but yeah, you have him. He beat Ronaldo, or he should have beat Ronaldo. It was in Brazil, obviously. We all know about Brazilian fighters and their Brazilian decisions. Um, Honestly, Bobby Green is such a good fighter, and he has so many fights where he should have won, but for whatever reason they didn't give it to him. Um, when he was on his roll back in 2013, he beat Volcom, beat Kraus, beat Pat Healy, and then beat Josh Thompson in a split decision. And then this was his real big opportunity against Barboza, and he obviously lost that one. And then lost to Poirier, lost to this, I think this is Rashid Magomedov, and then lost to Lando Venata, beat Eric Koch, lost to close. Again, really close decisions. That's Bobby Green's downfall, is because he's a really good fighter, and I feel like he just lets off the gas though too soon, and he thinks that he's winning the fight, but in the eyes of the judges, it's a lot closer than it is. So yeah, he had a 4-fight 2020, and it started in June, so that's pretty impressive. Same with Kevin Holland, he started very late as well. Probably could have had 7 fights, honestly, if some of his fights would have went through. But I'm a big fan of Bobby Green. On the other side, Jim Miller. Coming off a loss to Vince Pichel. Vince Pichel looked really good in this fight as well. He beat Roosevelt Roberts. That was a good fight. He was a huge underdog. Another local Southern California guy. So yeah, this fight I'm gonna go with Bobby Green. Obviously, I like him a lot more. I love Jim Miller. Don't get me wrong; he's a legend of the sport. But Bobby Green's my guy, so I'm gonna go with him. Probably a decision. I don't see if there's a finish. Probably Jim Miller submitted him. Next up, you have Maki Batolo versus Julian Marquez. Julian Marquez coming off a 2-year layoff, or is it 2 or 3 years? 2018, so almost 3 years. Like July would be 3 years, and he lost to Chirio, who just beat who did he just beat? Joaquin Buckley. He just beat Joaquin Buckley, um, and then he beat Darren Stewart. Those are the only 2 fights that we have from him, and he hasn't fought in 2 years. I don't know why, probably injuries. And then you look over at Maki Patolo. I mean, he's had some good showings during quarantine, but nothing like really standing out. Like he knocked out Bird, but I feel like this is kind of one of those fights. It's like they're trying to build up Julian Marquez to be, to come back off of a 2-year layoff and kind of return to where he was at before. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Julian Marquez to win this fight. Um, like I said, neither Julian has only fought twice in the last 2 years. And McKee has been more active. So if that actually comes, it might play a factor. It might. It may or may not play a factor, and it may or may not play a factor in the fight. Who knows? But moving on to the next fight, we're gonna go ahead. Andre Ewell versus Chris Gutierrez. As you can see, the page cannot be found, but I'm gonna look up Andre Ewell uh real quick and just look up his record. So he fought twice in 2020. He beat Aaron Rivera and Jonathan Martinez, and then 2019 he lost to Marlon Vera, which is nothing to be ashamed of. And then who's the other guy? Chris Gutierrez. I'm actually interested in looking up Chris Gutierrez. Chris Gutierrez. So he's never fought in the UFC, which is kind of weird. I do want to see where he fought previously. When he has fought in the UFC, it just doesn't show up. Okay, so he's been in the UFC for a very long time. A very long time. He beat. Okay, okay, so he beat Ryan McDonald. Yeah, I don't really know. Has he beaten anybody of notoriety? Not really. He was in the World Series of Fighting. He's fought for LFA, so he's kind of a journeyman. Ewell, I think, was just eager to get back in there after losing the fight for last Saturday, so took this fight on short notice. I believe it's a catch weight. What does he normally fight at? He normally fights at 135, so it's probably like 140. I'm gonna go Ewell here. I like him a lot more. I feel like he is the more complete fighter of the two, and I haven't seen a lot of Chris Gutierrez to prove otherwise. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be on the lookout for that fight though, so I can learn more about both guys. Next up, you have Kelvin Gastelum and Ian Heinisch. Ian Heinisch coming off of a win against Gerald Meerschaert, knocked him out. He knocked him out in the first round. Lost to Derek Brunson. Let me see who won this fight. I hate when it doesn't tell you. Okay, yeah. So he lost. So yeah, okay. So he's coming off a loss to he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, I believe, just a 2-fight losing streak. Yeah, and you coming up against Kelvin Gastelum. He's the number 15 ranked versus number 9 ranked. Obviously, Kelvin Gastelum coming off a 3-fight losing streak. But the people he's been fighting: Jack Hermanson, Darren Till, Israel Adesanya. No slouches. And the people he's beating: Jacko Ray, Michael Bisping, lost to Chris Weidman, um, beat Vitor Belfort, and Tim Kennedy. Um, I now looking at Kelvin's record, you kind of see he was kind of built up on older stars. You know what I mean? Like Johnny Hendricks was on his way out. Tim Kennedy, I think that was his retirement fight. Vitor Belfort, this is post TRT Beltor, lost to Chris Weidman. Michael Bisping, who took the fight on like a week notice after just fighting GSP. Um, but he's fighting high level competition as of late. But I just noticed that like Jacare Souza is not as high level as he used to be. Um, but I'm not discrediting his skills. He's earned it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go Kelvin just off the experience factor. But Ian might surprise a lot of people. I don't know. Be on the lookout. This is another one of those fights where it's like it's a toss up. If I'm betting my money, it's probably on Gastelum just because he has the experience, and I've seen him in there with Israel, with Darren, with Jack Hermanson, Chris Weidman. Tons and tons of experienced fighters. So that's why I would give Kelvin the edge, just for those slight reasons. Now you have Macy Barber coming off her first career loss, and she's fighting Alexa Grasso. Um, Basically, she came in right. She's been on a tear. Um, okay. I'm not authorized to access this page. Whatever, man. So, she's been doing her thing. I believe she's a prodigy of Ben Askren, or Ben Askren backs her up, something like that. She might fight her out of there. But yeah, so this is gonna be a fun fight. Alexa Garasso, obviously, very experienced. 3 losses, and her 3 losses are to the elites of the division, like Carla Esparza, Tatiana Suarez, who hopefully she comes back soon, and Felice Herrig. Um, yeah, I mean, she's got a lot of experience, and that could be the end. That could be the edge that she has, because Macy Barber, obviously, she struggled against Roxanne Modafferi, who has a lot of experience. So that's going to be the big thing. Is she moving down or is she moving up? Um, wouldn't it say what? Shouldn't it say what weight class they're fighting at? So it's women's flyweight. So Grasso's moving up to 125, I believe, or she already fought at 125. They just haven't updated it because they did the same thing with Gilbert Burns. So next fight is the main event: Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. Very, very interesting fight. Obviously, these two guys train together. They know each other like the back of their hands. They've had a lot of sparring rounds. So I think that's what this fight's going to come down to. You have Kamaru Usman, who's dominating his way through the 170-pound division, beating the likes of Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington. Um, who am I thinking of? Oh, Masvidal. I don't know how you could forget Masvidal, but he's beaten some of the best. And Gilbert, the same thing. I mean, Gilbert beat Tyron Woodley. They have a. It's kind of weird because they have a opponent in. They have a mutual opponent, but it's like, do they really? You know what I mean? Because they both dominated the fight, and so yeah, it's like they both dominated. They both destroyed Tyron Woodley, but it's like who isn't destroying Woodley right now? Um, this fight all depends on who got the better of one another in sparring. So if Kamaru got the better of Gilbert, it's going to be in Gilbert's head the whole fight. If Gilbert got the better of Kamaru, it's going to be in Kamaru's head the whole time, the whole fight. So I think that's what it comes down to. I think Gilbert's kind of been hinting that he was kind of beating him in training, respectfully, like saying it. But moving up, I mean, we've seen him handle Tyron Woodley really well. I don't know. To me, I was watching I was watching Gilbert Burns highlights from the from the UFC Twitter, and he just looks so pudgy at 170. It's funny, but he's a beast. He looks like he'd be perfect for 165, and hopefully one day they do make a 165-pound division, so you know, that way he could really, because I feel like that would be the perfect weight class for him. His peak performance would be at 165, but who knows? You got Nate Diaz talking about making 165 to fight Dustin and Charles because he doesn't want to cut weight no more, which is understandable. He's almost 36, so whatever. This isn't about Nate Diaz. We'll make a separate thing on Nate Diaz maybe. But yeah, so I don't know. The money, like I said, if I'm putting my money on it, if I'm putting my money, I'm going Kamaru. I think Kamaru is obviously he's the bigger and possibly better fighter of the two. Gilbert's looked impressive as of late, but like I said, the people who he's fought that are elite, besides Tyron Woodley, was Dan Hooker. That's the only notoriety that's on his record. If you look, I mean, it's like, and Gunnar Nelson. I don't want to say Gunnar Nelson isn't, but it's like, okay, this guy's in the World Series of Fighting. Dan Hooker's the only guy to beat him, or not the only guy to beat him, but one of the guys to beat him in the UFC. And it's like, you know, I I don't know. I don't want to be like that guy that's like, oh, he hasn't beaten anybody, but when he has faced the competition, albeit that was 2 years ago, so there's a lot changes, and obviously you can see going up to 170 has helped him a lot, beating Gunnar Nelson, beating Damian Maya, beating Tyron Woodley. So I don't know. Hopefully he has a chance. Everybody has a chance. So I'm not counting him out 100%. But if I'm putting money on the fight, I'm putting it on Kamaru, and that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. So hope you guys enjoy. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out.